In today's video, I want to give you yet another update about the PlayStation 5, specifically in this video, the SSD, which is going to be a big element of the PS5. I know going into any new generation, the last thing people really want to talk about is storage, because that's probably the least exciting thing to talk about. However, with an SSD being implemented for the PlayStation 5, it's more of a talking point than ever before, so we will highlight that. Also, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is out this Friday, and if you have an EA Access subscription, you are not going to be getting an early access trial, so that's a little bit of a bummer. They have detailed why. We'll go over that. And I also want to give you guys some updates on Granblue Fantasy Versus. We'll talk that at the end of this video. And before we get into everything, I just want to remind you guys to make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon so you're always notified of uploads. And that definitely helps out the channel too, so we always appreciate that. First up, the conceived PlayStation 5 SSD storage cartridge 3D render suggests that Sony's next-gen console might work with expandable SSD storage units. As it was noted on WCCF Tech last week, they covered a new patent that Sony Interactive Entertainment recently registered for a PlayStation cartridge. We uploaded a video going over that. A lot of people seem to think that was pointing towards some sort of PlayStation handheld, given that the PlayStation Vita was the last PlayStation device that utilized cartridges. However, that's probably not the case. The patent itself was picked up by the Dutch tech site Let's Go Digital, and following their article from last week, the tech site has now updated its article with some 3D renders. And it was pointed out by Mark Peters, Let's Go Digital managed to create some 3D renders of the cartridge patent that Sony filed. According to the Dutch tech site, we might very well be looking at 3D renders of expandable SSD storage cartridges for Sony's PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5 obviously won't be utilizing cartridges for games. Anybody that's thinking like that is absolutely out to lunch. That's not happening at all. 100%. Sony has already confirmed that its next-gen console will support a Blu-ray drive, and that's how they're going to be delivering games to you, at least from the physical end. As noted by Let's Go Digital, the use of expandable SSD memory cartridges might be more logical, as it allows Sony to cut on the price of base PlayStation 5 by offering different storage modules. The use of expandable SSD storage cartridges through the plug-in module might be more logical, as it would allow Sony to cut the price of the base PlayStation 5. Let's Go Digital has created several 3D renders of the speculated SSD storage cartridge, and while it might sound far-fetched for some, Sony's patent does mention that use of the PlayStation cartridge is intended for a configuration applied to in-device data recording and storage. All of this is speculation, and WCCF Tech and the Dutch website did a pretty good rundown of it, so I'll leave a link to the article in the description box below. It would be something that's quite innovative for a new console. However, I don't know how likely something like this is. I do think it would be a little bit off-putting to the hardcore gamer that's not used to something like this, but at the end of the day, if it could cut into the price of the PlayStation 5, it could be something to look at. But again, take this with a grain of salt, as it is a lot of speculation. Sony's lead architect on the PlayStation 5, Mark Cerny, has already confirmed that the upcoming console will be equipped with a specialized SSD that offers extremely fast loading times. That phrase should be looked back upon. He constantly said specialized SSD. I was never too certain of what that really meant, but obviously it would be an SSD that's made proprietarily for the PlayStation 5. Cerny specifically noted it would be an ultra high-speed SSD that is the key to our next generation. Our vision is to make loading screens a thing of the past, enabling creators to build new and unique gameplay experiences. Now, all of that sounds incredibly exciting. To include an SSD, to include all of the hardware that's already been detailed, that would be incredibly expensive. And yes, you can raise the idea of selling the PlayStation 5 at a loss from the get-go, only to make that money back up through things like PlayStation Plus subscriptions, game sales, and things of that nature. However, they don't want to be losing that much money on every console sold. At some point, you do need to make a profit on the thing, or at least you need to get as close to breaking even as possible. And with an SSD, with the high-end hardware, if you're looking at a $400 to $500 price point, that's probably going to be a little bit of a money loss, especially at a $400 price point. I don't see how they can make money on the PS5, given that it will include an SSD, and given the high-end hardware. So if they can take any shortcuts to mitigate the cost a little bit, I think Sony has to look at that, and maybe utilizing expandable SSD storage units is something they can look at. Whatever the case may be, it is pretty notable information that I wanted to bring to you guys. Alright, moving on from that, something that is going to be out very soon and we're very excited for is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Unfortunately, if you are an EA Access subscriber, there will be no play first trial. The official Origin Twitter account tweeted out, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order launches this week. Origin Access gets 10% off and Origin Access Premier gets the Deluxe Edition. We've opted to have early early and timed access to reduce the risk of spoilers. Instead, Origin Access members get these exclusive cosmetics. Now that's a little bit of a bummer. One of the key reasons to sign up for the EA Access and Origin subscription services is the opportunity to play trials of new EA games or full games if you pony up for Origin Premier. That's not available on PlayStation 4. That is a PC exclusive feature, and it would allow you to access these games a few days earlier than everyone else. Usually you get to play 4 or 5 days early, and yet Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is launching in just a couple of days and there's no trial in sight. Well, that's because EA actually quietly announced that there would be no trial a couple of weeks ago in a support thread, but now they're making it public, and unfortunately that news comes on the basis that there might be spoilers attached to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order if people play 10 hours of the game or whatever the case may be. And also, you have to look at the fact that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is not going to be an incredibly lengthy game. If you're giving people the opportunity to play the game by paying $5 a month or $30 a year, yeah, at that point you're kind of mitigating the reason to buy the game as a $60 title. Or on PC, why are you subscribing to Origin Access Premier? You can make the argument, oh, it's going to take longer than 10 hours. Yes, that might be the case, but giving 10 hours right away is giving you a significant portion of the game, and I could understand why they would step away from that. This is something that you should have made public a lot earlier, however, because there are going to be people that signed up for EA Access or Origin Access or whatever the case may be just for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, or Jedi Fallen Order was a big proponent to them. They were thinking earlier this month, okay, I can access these vault catalog of games, Jedi Fallen Order is out later this month, I'll be able to play that early. Everything was coming together for that, and yes, they did announce it a couple weeks ago in a support thread. However, they didn't publicize that information. Nobody is digging up information like that, and if you look at the history of the Play First trial, just about every other game was available as a Play First trial. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a new one to this, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, the comparison can be drawn that they offered a Play First trial for Mass Effect Andromeda. You're talking about Mass Effect Andromeda being a lengthy RPG comparatively speaking to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is going to be a shorter game. Look, I don't know the length of the game. I would be very, very surprised if it's longer than 20 hours, and I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that if you do rush through the game and you just want to see the story on the easiest difficulty, that you can finish the game in less than 10 hours, and at that point, you're letting people play the game early for free, and you're letting those people that just bum rush through the game beat the game, enjoy the entire story, whatever the case may be. I can understand from an EA standpoint why they opted to go this route. However, again, this should have been information that was publicized from the get-go, and gamers were made aware of it a long time ago, but there you have it. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is out this Friday, and I'm hoping for the best in terms of game quality out of that one. Lastly, I do want to highlight one thing. Granblue Fantasy Versus launches on Q1 2020 in the West, and special editions have been announced for the game. Yes, it's not Granblue Fantasy Relink, which I constantly see comments from you guys talking about. When are we going to hear more information about this? When are we going to get a release date or whatever the case may be? Granblue Fantasy Versus will launch for PlayStation 4 in Q1 2020. Publishers Xseed and Marvelous Europe have announced the game has been previously dated, released for February 6, 2020 in Japan, and it will feature both English and the original Japanese voices. Now, this is obviously a versus fighting game. The Western release will be available in both physical and digital editions. The retail premium edition will include a physical copy of the game, a key to redeem Gold Break, a Sunlight Stone, Saphira Evelyn, and Damascus Crystals, 10 of those within the original Granblue Fantasy game, soundtrack CD, art book, a code to redeem a PlayStation 4 theme and avatar set, and a code to redeem the color pack, downloadable content to customize character colors, all housed in a premium box with exclusive art for $79.99. The digital Granblue Fantasy Versus Character Pass set will include the game code, a key to redeem goods in the original Granblue Fantasy game, PlayStation 4 theme and avatar set, the character color pack, downloadable content, and the character pass downloadable content for 5 to be announced characters, plus the lobby avatar Nice Abs Power Vern. The character pass set will be available exclusively on the PlayStation Store for $79.99, so that is something to note. Based on what I'm seeing, you do not get the character pass with the retail premium edition, even though it's the same price. You get a lot of other physical goodies, but you do not get the character pass, so that's something you should definitely be aware of. And as far as Versus itself, an international mobile hit, Granblue Fantasy has toppled the charts, charming players across the globe with a plethora of lovable characters and story-driven mechanics. Now, legendary fighting game studio Arc System Works and Psy Games are teaming up to bring the universe to home console in an action-packed head-to-head fighter, featuring a colorful cast of their most popular crew members, each with a unique fighting style that is easy to learn but hard to master. Granblue Fantasy Versus is developed to appeal to fans of Granblue lore and fighting games alike. Again, it's not that Granblue Fantasy Relink that many of us were waiting for. That Japanese RPG looks fantastic. However, if you do want a quality fighting game. Given that this one is shaping up to be really good, I did want to give it a little bit of shine, and again, it'll be out Q1 2020. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, what do you think about the idea that the PlayStation 5 will have expandable SSD storage units? That's relatively interesting. It looks like this is something that would allow Sony to cut on the price of the base PS5, but that also begs the question, how much of an additional cost would this be as a separate entity? Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is not getting an EA Access trial due to spoiler concerns, and Granblue Fantasy Versus will be dropping Q1 2020. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.